Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, America, and welcome back to Pulse City, where we always bet on black. I'm your host, Marcus Hardy, back again. And today, we've got a topic that's going to be a little bit more fun than our normal heavy subjects. And that's about black NBA dress wear. I firmly believe that NBA pushes culture, right? Because of the visibility of the stars, the way the games are filmed, deeply entrenched into our cultural lexicon and fashionable and popular psyche. The NBA has for over 30 years, maybe even 40 years now, influenced fashion. Now, it started probably in the late 80s with Jordans, right? When Michael Jordan became really, really big and his shoes, for lack of a better word, just started like ringing off the shelves, right? Everybody wanted them, black, white, it didn't matter because he was Michael Jordan, right? Hip hop coming in heavy in the late 80s, early 90s, and the marriage with the NBA really brought NBA fashion to the forefront, right? And then when you get into the late 80s, early 2000s, you've got people like Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, really just changing how young black people dress, even black professionals dress when they're not at work, right? With throwback jerseys, Timberland boots, baggy jeans, do-rags, all of this was pushed by the NBA, right? And really was the gold standard for fashion for much of the early 2000s. Now, what do we know? In late 2004, that season was the Malice in the Palace. And the Malice in the Palace was when the Detroit Pistons and the Indiana Pacers had a big fight in the game. And not only were they fighting each other, they were fighting fans in the crowd, right? And the game was shut down, it was canceled. Players were fined, suspended for many games and things like that. And this fight ended the game. Fans were fighting players, players were fighting fans, back and forth, food flying, drinks flying, and things like that. Once that was over, NBA Commissioner David Stern, as well as popular culture, popular media, news organizations, the general consensus of everyday people felt like the NBA had an image problem. The commissioner at that time decided that the NBA needed to enforce a dress code that it never had enforced before. And that dress code was that when you're coming to games, when you're leaving games, when you're on the bench injured, you need to be dressed in business clothes and business casual. Blazers, they had to wear dress shirts and things like that. And players like Allen Iverson and Steven Jackson and some other ones felt like this was a racist policy. Like, why do they have to dress in suits when other leagues sort of can get around these things, right? They felt like it affected their ability to express themselves while playing the game of basketball. They fought it, they protested, but it was ultimately instituted and they had to follow. But the black mind, right? Especially a black NBA player with basically unlimited funds, they were able to tweak these suits, right? They were able to tweak the fashion, the way they wear their sports coat, the type of dress shirt, the dress pants, slack shoes and everything, to where that type of fashion became the norm. People, if you notice, in late 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, started wearing button-ups. Even if they were going to the grocery store, going to the club, hanging out with their friends, people wearing button-ups, blazers and things like that, nice shoes, nice jeans and things like that. And that was all because of the NBA. A lot of people may not want to admit that, but that was because NBA players, in their visibility, allowed that fashion to become the number one standard of fashion in the minds of the public. So this was directly affected by the NBA because it's such a visual sport. I believe the most visual sport of any sport. The camera really during the games gets on the faces of the players and you feel like you know them. When they dress as stuff that's really cool, especially as a young person, you begin to internalize that and dress that way yourself. So now if you go on sort of Instagram accounts like League Fits, you'll really see, for lack of a better phrase, NBA players swagged out in some of the latest high fashion. Now, David Stern, the commissioner that I spoke of earlier, retired a few years ago, actually probably many years now, but the new commissioner took over and he made the dress code a little bit more lax so that NBA players could express themselves, right? So now they're adding, artistic, custom jeans that look like high fashion, giant Gucci backpacks and other high-end brand bags and chains and nice rings and things like that, and sweaters and different button-ups that have sort of entered and crept into the fashion mind of America and the world generally. Black NBA fashion will continue, what's it been, 30 years, 40 years? It'll continue 20, 30 years as the sport gets even more popular. I mean, for me, it's more popular than the NFL and definitely more popular than baseball or hockey. So I think that this is only gonna progress, right? As soon as, everything is back to normal with COVID, you're really gonna see an explosion of artistic expression. People have a lot of this pent up. And I think the muse and the canvas of that will be the NBA and the players. They have the money and the visibility to affect how we view fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. With that, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. That's all we ask. Join Pulse City in this ride. We want you to get the videos sent to you, and we can only do that. And Pulse City will catch you on the flip side. One love.
Oh my god, orange is not my new black.